September 12th, 2023, 6:30 p.m. City Council meeting. We do have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Would you please join me in a moment of silence, and when we do, please remember the September 11th victims and the first responders. And the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, will you please read the rules to speak?
Yes, sir. Individuals wishing to speak on agenda items must complete a sign-up card prior to the item being introduced. Those wishing to speak on quasi-judicial public hearings must complete a sign-up card and sign the oath. Sign-up and oath cards are available on the table. Individuals wishing to speak on non-agenda items may do so under petitions from the public present. This opportunity is offered twice in the meeting, and individuals may speak at either the first or second petitions, but not both. No sign-up card is required. Citizens shall not comment on any issue more than once during the meeting. All comments except petitions and requests must address the pending issue, and citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak on all items. Citizens wishing to speak on the consent agenda must submit a sign-up card identifying the items of interest. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes to speak on the entire consent agenda. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to City Council shall be placed in the box on the table.
Thank you, City Clerk. I now need a motion to approve the minutes of the presentations meeting of August 22nd, 5:30 p.m. and the special City Council meeting budget workshop on August 17th, 2023, 5 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Minutes are carried. City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. There's two agenda adjustments that we would like to make early into the meeting. The first item is item 9A, which is SSA 1-2023, at the request of the applicant to table that item till 10 October 23.
I'd like to move 9A, table it to October 10th, 2023.
Discussion.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Discussion.
I have a motion and a second. City Clerk, you can decide. All those in favor say yes.
Wait, I'm asking for discussion.
Oh, okay, you
before
may
we vote.
discuss. Go ahead, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
No, I'm fine with it. I just wanted to make it clear to the applicant and to you guys, I more than likely will be missing the first meeting in October due to my work schedule. So I just want to put that out there. I'm fine. I'm voting in favor of it, but I just wanted that on the record.
I appreciate it. Okay, now we have a motion, a second, and a discussion, which I thought was a second. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Passes. City Manager.
Second item is item 11A, which is a conditional mediated settlement agreement for SSA 5-2022. The item's 11A again, and they would like to reschedule that to 10 October 2023 as well.
No,
Would like to come up?
tonight was going to be the consideration of approving the settlement agreement. Due to miscommunication, some of those letters and exhibits were not
Right.
attached to the order, which was going to be heard tonight. So you're being asked to table approval of the settlement agreement from tonight to your next meeting.
So I would move to reschedule 11A to October 10th.
September 26th.
September 26th. 2023.
Yes, sir.
Second.
One moment. Okay, I have a motion and a second on 11A. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Carries. City Manager.
On to item number 5A, which is the proclamation for National Suicide Prevention Month. And Mayor, with your permission, I will read the official proclamation. Official proclamation for the City of Titusville, whereas September is designated as National Suicide Prevention Month, as recognized by the National Association of Mental Illness. Whereas many mental health officials and community leaders locally, state, and nationally understand that mental illness is a significant issue of concern, particularly among our youth. Whereas we realize that to address mental health issues requires more than open and honest discussions about mental health. Whereas the major hurdle in removing the stigma attached to mental health treatment and discussion. Whereas individuals, businesses, organizations, public officials, and many others recognize the importance of emotional health. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Titusville supports efforts on the Space Coast to provide education and resources for mental health problems, and that the City of Titusville will encourage a positive effort to encourage those with mental health issues to seek the help of a family member, friend, colleague, and/or licensed medical health professional to assist them in their time of need. Signed, Daniel E. Diesel, Mayor, Titusville.
I would say I can think of nothing more important to do a proclamation on than the well-being of others and mental health. And the last line there says it all, that the City of Titusville encourages a positive effort to encourage those with mental health issues to seek the help of a family member, friend, colleague, and/or licensed mental health professional to assist them with their time of need. So with that, I appreciate you pushing something like this and supporting something like this. And I guess we're supposed to get a picture. Thank you so much. Anything you want to say?
Thank you very much. I think Mayor Diesel was the first person we approached with this when we saw you at the Palm Point event, and he jumped right on this. And it shows that Titusville is a community that cares about this issue, and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you.
The next item is item 5B, a proclamation for Constitution Week. And Mayor, with your permission, I'll read for the record. Official proclamation of the City of Titusville, Florida, whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. Whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the magnificent document and the anniversaries of its creation. Whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate this occasion. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. Whereas Constitution Week provides an opportunity for all Floridians to learn about the Constitution of the United States and reflect upon the unique principles of our great nation. Now, therefore, I, Daniel E. Diesel, by the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Titusville, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Signed, Daniel E. Diesel, Mayor.
Do another thing here. On a very different sort of way, I can't think of another more important proclamation to make than that supporting Constitution Week. I think that sometimes we get caught up in a lot of other things, and through the years, I don't think that some of us appreciate the written document of the Constitution like we should. And without people like you, this doesn't even happen. So I thank you so much, and I just hope that your efforts continue and that we can appreciate the Constitution the way we should. With that, I think we can do a picture, and then if you want to say a word, we can do that. Anything you want to say, feel free. Oops, that means you got this.
Yeah, down. We will be doing a Ring the Bells at 4 p.m. on the steps of City Hall. It will be 1 minute of ringing the bells to commemorate the signing of the Constitution. So if anybody wants to join us, we'll be on the steps, 4 p.m. on Sunday, September 17th. Thank you.
City Manager.
On to boards and commission. Item 6A is the 2023-2024 Student Advisory Council membership appointments. And council staff is recommending that you confirm Sydney Lell of Astronaut High School, Mr. Simon Williams of Titusville High School, Pauline Hopping as Academic Community Enrichment Incorporated as members of the 2023-2024 Student Advisory Council as nominated by their individual schools.
Thank you very much. I will say that I never had such a edifying experience as I had with the council last year. I think we would all agree. They just made us proud. They made and they made their parents proud. It was a great group. So with that, staff or council, anything you need to add to that? If not, we'll call the cards.
One card, Stan Johnston.
Stan, we're talking about Student Advisory Council membership. We may disagree on that. We'll see.
So you know what that handout is, and I'm addressing you because I'm not against this motion that you, the appointments, but I'm against this meeting because I'm giving you so many other things that should be taken care of business, and I'm asking you to close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess, anything else from council? I don't see staff down there. So, motion?
Move to confirm Sydney Lill, Simon Williams, and Pauline Hopping as members of the 23-24 Student Advisory Council as nominated by their schools.
Second.
I have a motion by member Nelson, a second by member Cole. Roll call vote.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Member Nelson? Yes. Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
I wish them all the best, and I look forward to working with them. Motion passes. City Manager.
Item 6B, which is the North Brevard County Hospital District Board Semi-Annual Report, and Mr. Billy Speck will be presenting the report.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good evening, everyone.
It was great to see you guys.
It's good to be here. I am Billy Specht, member of the Parish Center Board of Directors. I got a fellow board member here, Herman Cole. I'm also joined by the senior staff. I just want to point them out. George McTarian, our CEO, and Natalie, who's around here somewhere. Hi, Natalie. It is an honor to present Parish Medical Center's semi-annual report. You've got a presentation on your screen. I'll direct you up there. A written report has been provided that summarizes the outcomes achieved by Parish Medical Center since our last report 6 months ago. My presentation this evening will highlight select announcements, awards, recognitions, community involvement, new providers added to our medical staff, and an example of Parish's Medical Center's mission in action. And I do promise to go quickly, as Jolyn suggested.
I was just pointing out that some people are slow.
Oh, okay. Sit next to you, I see. Okay.
We have a new member.
Parish healthcare partners are constantly focused on enhancing quality and service. One of the ways that we stay at the forefront of medicine is through the accreditation process. You've heard us report on the reviews conducted by such accrediting organizations as the Joint Commission, whereby parish healthcare's programs and services are compared to the best of the best in the industry. The American College of Surgeons Commission on Cancer is another accrediting organization that Parish invites to review the quality of our programs and services. I am very proud to share that Parish Healthcare's oncology programs again earned accreditation from the Commission. We have sustained this accreditation since 1990. Our maternal and child programs and services were recently recognized for exceeding the National Healthy People 2030 goal of reducing C-section births. Dr. Joseph Ladapo, Surgeon General of Florida, and Jason Wida, AHCA Secretary, presented the award to PMC at the Florida Hospital Association Quality Conference in June. There's a photo here. These accomplishments take a lot of hard work and commitment to excellence by everyone throughout the health system. Next slide. The commitment is also behind the continuous advancing of medical sophistication provided to this community. Parish Medical Center is the first hospital in Brevard to provide same-day ablations within its cardiac catheterization center. Using advanced interventional cardiac techniques means people diagnosed with irregular heartbeats called atrial fibrillation, or AFib, are now able to get faster relief and return home the same day. Next slide. Not only are we advancing cardiac care on behalf of the North Brevard community, but we're also expanding options for people needing surgery. Parish healthcare surgeons perform now robotic-assisted surgery as an option for a variety of surgical interventions. The surgical technique means smaller incisions, shorter hospital stays, and faster recoveries. There's a photo of that device on the screen. In addition to constantly enhancing the programs and services, parish healthcare is equally devoted to the community involvement. Our family of care partners stay very active throughout the community. Each community outreach event and program is focused on addressing the health needs and priorities as identified from our community health needs assessment. Since our last report in March, some 5,400 community members benefited from one of dozens of parish healthcare sponsored outreach events. Among those events, Titusville Rotary Club Jazz and Space event, Titusville Sunrise Rotary Club Wheels in Motion car show, sports physicals events at all of our local area high schools, including EKG screenings with our partners who we play for. From project graduation events to back-to-school events to academic and athletic excellence initiatives, we have a long tradition of supporting North Brevard schools. Most recently, we were very proud to have been able to help Space Coast Junior Senior High School cross their fundraising finish line so that they could complete their track expansion project. We're also proud to serve as one of our area's largest employers. Our teams are diligent in recruiting and retaining talent into our family of care partners and to our community. We not only participate in a variety of career fairs, we partner with area high schools, colleges, and universities to provide students with skills training and residency opportunities to prepare them upon graduation for such careers as nursing, medical technology, and other allied health careers. Additionally, our recruitment of providers to our community remains a priority. You'll see a list here on the screen. Since our last report, we have welcomed 9 new providers to our community. These providers specialize in family medicine, anesthesia, surgery, and internal medicine. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to share with you an example of Parish's healing mission in action. This recent story is a perfect example of what makes our Parish Medical Center so special. This is Marty of Titusville, and he raved about his experience at Parish Medical Center. Marty was referred to surgeon Dr. Zambos for gallbladder surgery. He was grateful to Dr. Zambos and his team of care partners. He said, "My surgery and recovery were excellent. In fact, my entire experience was excellent. I can't say enough about how everyone treated me." He also went on to say that his recovery was very easy due to the robotic surgery. Marty received robotic-assisted surgery at Parish Medical Center. On behalf of the board, I thank Marty for entrusting us with his care and allowing us to share his experience. I also extend our thanks to the care team involved for dedicating themselves to the rigorous training required to constantly advance their skills. And as always, thanks to the community at large for supporting your community healthcare system. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done. That's maybe a little better than what I'm used to.
Excuse me?
Billy, thank you so much. I think the PowerPoint is helpful and gives us slow folks a chance to see that. I do want to say that as I get older, I tend to have more needs, and in the last 2 years, I've had 4 procedures at Parish, and the professionalism and the outcomes have just been amazing. But it always surprises me. It shouldn't, because it happens every time. I always get a card later on from all the doctors and nurses who were involved. This is such a special touch that I really appreciate. I'd also like to add where I am closest with Parish over the many years is I go back to when Dr. Rojas was my team doctor in the 90s. I've had and then I remember sitting on a panel with Dr. Alada when they started the sports training deal here that we didn't have before. We were behind a lot of places in the state, and Parish stepped up, and Dr. Alada, who had that experience, helped lead the charge. And right now, we are probably in, the most, we have more trainers and more professional doctors on the sideline in North Brevard than they do anywhere else. I know that I have seen Dr. Alada at Titusville, Cocoa, and Space Coast. Depends on the day, depends on the week, and he's got trainers. You all have trainers at all of them. And that's just a big deal. You mentioned some of the things they do with the heart testing that saves lives. I remember when that came along, I didn't even understand it. But the sudden death that happens with athletes that we pray never happens, you guys detect that. So it's some of the things that people just don't see or don't know. They drive by and they really like the Christmas tree, and I love the fireworks, and all that is wonderful. But they don't necessarily see. Now there's a push going on through you all again in the athletic world to make sure that every single school has an efficient number of AEDs in the gym, with the trainer at the football games. I mean, that didn't used to happen, and it wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you guys facilitating that. And I can go on and on. I've got several things written down here, but bottom line is I appreciate what you guys do. I see it closer in the athletic world. But I can say again, probably for the first time, I hope we don't say this every year, but had 4 minor procedures, and I couldn't be happier with the result, and I couldn't be more impressed with the cards that the people send you afterwards. So I appreciate that. Member Nelson.
I just want to say I appreciate your commitment to the community. And on behalf of the Titusville Sunrise Rotary Club, thank you for the help in our car show this year. The money went to Fighting Edge. Fighting Edge needs a new boxing ring. And they take the low-income kids, actually any kid that wants a place to hang out, and teaches them to box. And their ring was about 20 years old. And as our mayor said, if I stand on that ring, I'm going to be
Going to collapse.
concerned.
Yes.
So that's where the money is going. And thank you for the use of the pool for the Boys and Girls Club. I think it's important that all our kids learn how to swim so we don't have to worry about them. So I just applaud your commitment to the community.
Everything.
Thank you.
And I just add, because we talked about it so long at the last meeting, I don't think anybody gives more to arts in North Brevard than Parish. I don't know all the facts, stats, or numbers, but I will say that, the sponsorships and certainly the Titusville Playhouse for one, just amazing. So, and I talk about the fireworks every year, so I'm not going to say as much about the fireworks, but boy, you guys just lead in so many different ways. Okay, so I'm done. I won't keep talking. Member Cole.
Well, I couldn't let it go without saying something because the report Billy gave was absolutely outstanding. I've been on the Parish Medical Center board for 23 years. 6 months after I arrived on the board, we got a new CEO. And that new CEO, George Mkhitaryan, has brought us and led us into the future. There are a lot of things in life that we take for granted. The inner workings, as I have said before, of the city, people don't really understand the things that the city does in the background. I must have slept through my civics class because I've learned so much since November. And it's the same thing with Parish Medical Center. The kinds of things that they do and the new technologies that are coming in is just amazing. And it's through the leadership of our CEO and the staff he has built to support him. And I say to you, not as a board member at Parish, but as a city council person, thank you for what you do for our community.
And with that, you guys want to hang around longer and hear us talk more, don't you? With that, thank you, guys. I mean, it's not just what you do in the hospital realm, it's what you do in the community. So thank you, guys. Appreciate you very much, and we don't have to take any action on this, that's correct. So the hospital board semi-annual report has been accepted. Thank you, guys. City Manager.
On to item 6C, which is the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate Semi-Annual Report. It's included in your packet, and no actions required.
All right, no action required on that one either. Petitions and requests from the public. There are not many of you out there. This is how we ended the last meeting right here, the two of you. Got to get you in the swimming pool there.
Okay,
Well, this is where he can free flow, and I can't say nothing. So I stopped listening.
Stan Johnston.
All right.
And, of course, you see my shirt, WV, Almost Heaven, West Virginia. I'm giving a public announcement that we're going to have West Virginia Day last Sunday in September at Fox Lake Park, right after church, about 12:30 to 3:30. Free food for as long as it lasts. And so I'm hoping we get some more people because it's not as populous as it used to be. I just gave you out a handout to at the last time I spoke, and this handout has to do with a number of things. Is that the city of Titusville is doing some good things, very good things, but the city of Titusville is doing some very bad things too. Well, this can be said of some other people, like Bernie Madoff, like Lance Armstrong, like even Hitler. So I'm bringing up some bad things that are going on that you guys are very much involved in. It also even reminds me of the KKK. The KKK was an organization that did a lot of good things, but they did some horrible things, very horrible things. So the city of Titusville is doing some horrible things, and I've given you a list of them, of 20 of the bad things they're doing. Just to list and give you an example of one of them is, I'll read to you, is number 5. And this is a violation of the U.S. Constitution. You guys gave an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. This is a violation of the U.S. Constitution. That is taking of lands or taking of property without due process. That's what you're doing when you have these dams. There's at least 5 dams that constructed in the city of Titusville without any surveys what they flood, no compensatory storage, and they are taking people's property illegally against the Constitution. And you guys turn your head the other way. You look down, you turn your head and so forth. This is disgusting. It shouldn't happen. But I also blame even St. Johns River Water Management District. It should never happen. So this is one of 20 that I have listed to you to look at, because I'm asking you to terminate your city manager, our city manager, because of his dishonesty, his fraud, his violation of laws, etc. May I have another 2 minutes?
No, I see none.
Probably not. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. I just feel that I have to rebuke at least from my perspective, the statement that the KKK has done a lot of good things. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to discuss it. I'm simply saying that I couldn't let that go. I'm sure there's agreement up here. With that, petitions and requests.
Shifalo, Tropic Street. While I appreciate your discussion and your concern for the arts, now I want to say how disappointed I am in your decision at the last meeting about the urban forestry program. TEC presented a very well-planned and thought-out program with various things that could be done. Some could be implemented now, some could be implemented later. It could be staged. The plan if you had really studied it, you would see that it didn't have to all be done at one time. It didn't have to have a lot of budget behind it. There would be a lot of, what I am trying to do in this town is community involvement. There would have been a lot of community involvement in tree planting, tree care, tree watering, weeding around the trees, like Miss St. Ange and small group of people are doing at the trees that were planted by the community. You were there also, up at the park. Now they are weeding them and trying to take care of them because Parks and Rec is not very careful in their maintenance. They use weed eaters that damage the trunks around the ground. They use herbicides near plants that shouldn't be herbicided. And I just think it's really silly that you voted to get back behind step one, to look now for a $50,000 matching grant to develop a program to plant trees in Titusville to help increase and maintain our tree canopy. When the TEC presented you with a very well thought out, very hard work was put behind that plan that was presented to you. And I don't know why Mr. Parrish insisted so much that you take the option 2, which was to seek a $50,000 matching grant to produce a program to plant trees. It's going to take a long time. We're losing more trees every day than we can plant in a year to replace. And I don't know about you guys, I'm kind of an old person. If we plant some nice trees today, live oaks and things like that, I doubt if I'll live long enough to see them grow to maturity. I just think it was silly. Thank you.
Thank you. Petitions or requests?
And
Yes, ma'am.
Tony, can I answer that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Kay and I went this week and met with Kevin and Jeff Davis from Parks and Rec and Tex Lodeholtz from Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec maintains our park, and so they are interested in having trees planted. Knock on wood, we're going to get some trees. But I think what Kay realized was it's not as easy as saying, oh, just go dig a hole and put the tree in there. Because what we were talking about is this particular area, there were certain trees that would grow, other trees, most of them wouldn't grow. Some of the trees had to be commercially put in. And then there was, I'll tell you, there was an issue that FEMA wanted to redo that shoreline. So we had to be far enough back from the shoreline to make sure that we didn't get all our trees torn back up. The zoo wants to come in and they want to do a living shoreline. So it's a little bit more than that. So when you say, let's just go plant trees, because that's what Kay said, let's just go plant trees, just dig a hole and put a tree in the ground. And she walked out of there and she was like, this was a little more complicated than I expected. So I think it was a lot more complicated than any of us expected. And I think by having a tree plan, we have a direction where we have a list of things that we want to do, and we can sort of check it off and go through the list. So it's not that we don't want trees, but it's like,
Who's picking the plan?
okay, where are we putting them? Who's taking care of? Who's paying for it? Can it be done by volunteers? Does it have to be done commercially? Yeah. So we are doing the tree boxes, I think, in the spring. I would love to see if we have extra money. This is just my desire, is that maybe we see if we can put a couple more tree boxes
Right.
in. but I think it'll get there. It's just that, like with the park, I can't put them in certain places. So, anyway.
Thank you so much. City Manager, consent agenda.
Okay, City Council, are there any questions of staff on consent agenda items A through F?
I see none.
City Council, or any items would you like to pull for further discussion?
I see none.
City Clerk, are there any cards on consent?
Yes, sir, we have 2 individuals.
And Mayor, I'd like to read consent A through F titles for the record.
Please do, thank you.
Consent agenda item 8A, approve the renewal of all lines of insurance coverage. Consent agenda item 8B, approve permission for staff to procure products or services on the vendor of record list for the City of Titusville's FY24. Consent agenda item 8C, approve the award of lead and copper service line inspection contract. Consent agenda item 8D, approve the award for the Blue Heron reuse pump improvements contract. Consent agenda item 8E, accept the FY24 Victim of Crimes Grant Award. And consent agenda item 8F, adopt resolution 23-2022, establishing rules of decorum for all city boards.
Okay, anything from the council on that at this time? I see none. Call the cards.
Stan Johnston,
Stan Johnston. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. So there you go. I'm a professional engineer, and I have some reservations about 8A, and that is because let me read this to you. It says, delegate authority to the city manager of award VOR purchase and contracts and so forth. And it goes around and says some other things. It's authorizing him to have the financial. And what I have given you on your handout is number 1 of the 20 items is something that was committed by our city manager and our mayor, former Mayor Johnson, but it was witnessed by Jolynn Nelson, Dan Diesel, although he seemed to be asleep when it happened, and then Sarah Stokel. That was some years ago, but it was a $70,000 fraud by city manager. And the thing is, I think it's what should we call this? In other words, he said there was a $70,000 spent, and so I asked for a request for a Freedom of Information Act, and it never happened. It never happened. He claimed that it was done by Geosyntec. I go to Geosyntec, they said it never did it. So how in the world can you justify this dishonesty with $70,000 and you have him as city manager? You guys have got to be fruitcakes. I'm talking about council members. I'm not saying just fruitcakes. You've got to be 5-star fruitcakes to have this happen. And you're witnesses to it. 3 people up here are witnesses to it. I'm looking forward to someday that I'll be in court and testify to what you guys do, because right now is your city manager can't go to court, testify in court, because that will be brought up. The same thing for Jolynn Nelson, Sarah Stokel, and you, Mr. Diesel, because that will be brought up in court. It's in ORB 8506, page 1374. Shame on you. I'm asking for extra time on this because you spoke against me at the last meeting about this $70,000 fraud. It's real. I'm ready to testify, and I do testify against it, and you guys are absolute fruitcakes on this. I'm asking for 2 minutes. What's that?
Such a profound word you use sometimes.
Okay, idiots.
No, I'm talking now.
Okay.
I'm not going to get real deep into this because this goes back, as you said, a previous mayor. I'm going in my last year, and we're still talking about
You were
the
there.
previous mayor. But that being said, you talked about geosyntax is $70,000, a document you never saw?
A document I was told
you
I
requested
received. I
for, you
received. In
never saw?
fact, Mr. Broomer, he even said that, affirmed
No, it's
that I
not,
had.
because I'm going to ask my next
received it.
question, because my next question, which I
Pardon?
asked you previously at another meeting, probably a couple of years ago now.
Yes.
You've never seen that document. How do you know what it says? How do you know that it's fraud?
Because it doesn't exist.
Because you've never seen it. You said it's something you've never seen that you requested, but
They said that you've got it. He said that you've got,
we'll
all
leave
you
it at
guys
that.
got it.
My
Well, have
point-
you seen
no,
it
no,
either?
Stop
Has he seen it?
Stop talking.
I'm sorry.
At this point, it's my turn. Your time is up.
Yes, thank you.
I'm simply going to say what I've said in the past. You complain about that all the time, that you never got to see it, and then you stood up there previously and said, it says this, and it's lying about me and all those things, but you've never seen it.
Because it doesn't exist.
Okay.
I made a Freedom of Information Act to receive it, and I never got it.
you. Point taken. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, may I have
All right.
another 2 minutes?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Yes, Tony Sheffler?
Schiffelow, Historic Norwood House. I would just like a little clarification on 8F, decorum at the various advisory committees. Is this restricted strictly to the number 10
Here, let me
decorum?
hold you on that. And you can stop her clock if you want. That's fine, because this is a good question, I think. City Attorney, can you kind of give her idea just basically what we're trying to do here and be consistent with what we're doing? I think it's, a good idea.
Sure. As you're maybe aware, previously council gave direction that they wanted to update the rules of council for council meetings and update the rules of decorum. So we did that, but that ordinance was specifically addressed to the council.
Council.
This is more general and applies those same rules, so the chairmen of those boards have the rules of decorum that they could follow in their meeting.
Now, that's just decorum. Does that
That's correct.
apply to the time limit? For instance,
It-
some of the
chairman
boards
at the
allow
board- No, this is just decorum.
just decorum. The
Correct.
behavior, and that's pretty
They still
specifically to
follow
how
their
you behave.
bylaws on time limits, and each board has that discretion according to their rules. This is only allowing them to understand the rules of decorum and implement those rules of decorum to run the meetings efficiently.
Tony,
But
what,
it
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
have to do with the times.
Okay.
What it really does, as I understand it, it gives us some consistency. I didn't realize we didn't have that.
I didn't either.
I didn't realize we didn't really have this in writing for all the other boards. So I just assumed our rules were everybody's rules. And so we're just trying to get some consistency, nothing different.
Well, I just was worried about it and came
Go ahead and start
tonight.
the clock.
I was worried about it and came tonight because I serve on one of these advisory boards, and
Right.
we've never had any incidents, even when we had some really upset client,
Right.
people who came about some of the issues that we ruled on.
And we
Everybody
don't-
practiced great
and
decorum.
we generally don't. And I got to be honest, I'll bet you most folks on the boards, the chairmen of the boards, I didn't know, and the city attorney pointed it out. They don't have the decorum that we have, and that's all they're trying to do. No, there was no more problems because it was run. Nothing was really run differently. I think we all thought it was all the same.
I thought so, and our board functions pretty much the same as your board, only we don't have many public come, so we don't have to worry about a
yeah.
3-minute time limit. And also, some of the issues that some of the individual boards deal with are going to take more than a 3-minute carefully crafted speech that can't really get done in 3 minutes, because the issues that these boards are dealing with, like planning and zoning, or the historic board even, historic preservation, sometimes somebody can't really get everything across in 3 minutes. So I wanted to know specifically that it's not going to infringe on our time for our public presentations.
Has nothing to do with the time for presentations. The chairmen will still run their boards as they see fit.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the effort to make anybody who comes into this room behave themselves. I mean, why not? It's public, it's televised, it's government, it's important, and people should know how to behave themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Schiffelau. Where was I? Any other cards? All right, Member Nelson.
before I make that motion,
Absolutely.
I just want to say, I really appreciate us looking at the lead service lines.
Yes, yes, I
mean,
thought so too.
You know, I was like,
That's one that stood out in my mind. too.
yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate
Anyway.
the city.
So I want to move to approve consent agenda items A through F, including resolution number 23, 2023.
I have a motion from.
Second.
I have a motion from Member Nelson. I have a second from Member Stokel. Roll call vote.
Member Nelson? Yes. Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Member Cole?
Consent agenda passes unanimously. City Manager.
Council, we're all the way to item 10A now, which is ordinance number 44, 2023, Comprehensive Plan Amendment 1-2023, Water Supply Facilities Work Plan. This is the first reading. The city attorney will read the ordinance for the record, and the public hearing is scheduled at the regular city council meeting on 26 September 2023 at 6:30.
Ordinance number 44, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances by amending ordinance number 60, 1988, which adopted the comprehensive plan of the City of Titusville by adopting Comprehensive Plan Amendment 1, 2023, amending the conservation, infrastructure, capital improvement, and intergovernmental coordination elements of the comprehensive plan related to the city's water supply facilities work plan, and amending the potable water level of service by specifically amending Conservation Element Policy 1.14.12, Infrastructure Element Policy 2.1.1, Objectives 5.1 and 5.3, and Policy 5.5.3, Capital Improvements Element Policy 1.5.1, and Intergovernmental Coordination Element Policy 1.2.22, providing for severability, repeal of prior and consistent ordinances, incorporation in the comprehensive plan, and an effective date.
All right, that's a first reading. Council, any comments on that? I see none. Call the card.
Stan Johnston?
There's nobody else here, Stan. Just you.
Oh, my goodness. Stan Johnston, registered engineer. Oh, there's one other person here.
Yeah, she is, but she's not coming.
So here's what's going on in this. This talks about some changes to the comprehensive plan. And I want to bring up what's going on and ask what's going on.
Imagine that.
Because we recently had revelation that there's a sewer moratorium on the south end of town. So this is one way of getting more people onto our sewer list is to say that they use less gallons per day. And that's what part of this is, in my understanding. And the problem is that there's different ways we can reduce the amount of usage of the water. We can raise the price of water and raise the price of sewer, which we've done, and we've done repeatedly. And we can that'll make people use water less. That's for sure. So. It's a new world because we're reducing the amount of ours, and we're also, what we're doing is throughout the city is we keep rezoning for higher density and higher density and higher density and higher density. Why? And the thing is I would like us and to notify people who have property if there's moratoriums on them. The city of Titusville has had moratoriums before. It's an ugly mess. You buy a piece of property and find out you can't use it for a while. That's what my understanding is on the south end of town. This agenda item has to do with this. And the thing is, I think you guys ought to start thinking about what's going on in also your planning department. Look into possibilities of sewer moratoriums, because Mr. Stauffer was not swift on these issues. Fact is, he completely ignored it. He missed the boat on the south end of town. He did not comment on it. Neither did you guys when I sent you emails about it. So I think what you should do is stop business, fire the city manager, and get on with real business and get the truth out. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like 2 more minutes to talk
You're
on
good.
this, but
No,
I
sir.
don't think I can get it.
Nope, I don't see it.
Don't think.
All right, council, anything you want to add to that particular first reading? Yeah, right. I'm just seeing if you want to say anything else. All right, city manager.
On to 10B, which is ordinance number 45, 2023, amendment to Chapter 15, Pension and Retirements, Article 2, General Employees Pension Plan. And this is the first reading. The second reading is scheduled for 26 September 2023 at 6:30. City Attorney will read the ordinance for the record.
Ordinance number 45, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, amending Chapter 15, Pensions and Retirement, Article 2, General Employees Pension Plan of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Titusville, amending Division 1, Section 1526, Definitions, amending Division 1, Section 1528, Contributions, amending Division 5, Section 1596, Normal Retirement, amending Division 5, Section 15105, Benefits effective August 26, 2013, amending Division 5, Section 15106, Minimum Distribution of Benefits, amending Division 5, Section 15110, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, providing for compliance with the Secure 2.0 Act, providing for repealing of all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability of provisions, and providing an effective date.
All right, council, I see nothing. Call the card, please.
Stan Johnston,
Stan Johnston, as you know, I've lived here over 50 years, and I worked for the city, I worked for the county and so forth, and I retired from the city. I'm looking at this pension and retirement. It was just a few years ago that we had a meeting, and at the very end of the meeting is the city of Titusville, they had a discussion, talked about whether it's going to go bad, and that was regarding bankruptcy and OPEB and so forth. So I don't know whether we're going to, it looks like we're in much better shape now. And it was a 27-minute conversation on bankruptcy. Very end of the meeting, I think either it was just me or 2 people at the end of that meeting. So it's something that people don't want to hear about, but I think we're sitting in sweet butter right now, as far as our income and so forth. So I still do not trust our city manager for his involvement in this $70,000 fraud.
Stop clock, Stan. And you and I have gone round and round on this before. You can't keep saying the same thing, and you've gone back to that about 5 times, so don't do that again. Go.
Okay, I'm talking about this $70,000 fraud.
Same thing you said 5
$70,000
times.
fraud because it affects what.
If you're going to say it again, you're going to be done. Let's go.
Okay, I'm saying again, because I believe I have the right to tell you, because I do not what's going on, because I do not trust our mayor, our city manager, because of his $70,000
Stan,
fraud.
Since you just repeated it again, I told you not to.
$70,000 fraud.
Have a seat. You're good. Have a
Okay,
seat.
all right,
Thank you.
you're taking,
Thank you.
you're,
All right,
that's illegal what you're doing, and you should recuse
yeah,
yourself.
have a seat. Stan, you can't repeat the same thing, and you've only done it 12 times. I got you covered. All right. Where was I? Any other cards? 10C.
Okay, on to 10C, which is ordinance number 46, 2023, amendments to Chapter 15, Pension and Retirements, Article 3, Police Officers and Firefighters Pension. The public hearing for this is scheduled at your regular city council meeting on 26 September 2023 at 6:30. City attorney will read for the record.
Ordinance number 46, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, amending Chapter 15, Pensions and Retirement, Article 3, Police Officers and Firefighters Pension Plan of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Titusville, amending Division 1, Section 15126 Definitions, amending Division 5, Section 15191 Member Contributions, amending Division 5, Section 15211 Retirement Dates, amending Division 5, Section 15222 Benefits, amending Division 5, Section 15224, minimum distribution of benefits to provide for compliance with Secure 2.0 Act, amending Division 5, Section 15233, deferred retirement option plan, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability of provisions, and providing an effective date.
All right. Nothing from the council. Call the card.
Stan Johnston,
Stand before you start. Public comment procedure. Citizens shall not comment on any issue more than once during the meeting. So clearly, we've heard about the $70,000 more than once and city manager, et cetera, so I don't want to think I'm making that up. All comments except petitions and requests must address the pending issue. We're talking about pension plans. And anything else you have to say about city manager would be redundant, so I will say it again, shall not comment on any issue more than once during the meeting. I've heard that same issue and over. You've got plenty to say. Say it. All right, let's go.
Okay. Stan Johnston, and somewhat of a comment about what's going on here is that you denied me my 3 minutes at the, on
No,
item.
you didn't use it properly.
On item
difference.
10A, I'm requesting that Wanda Wells report that in the minutes.
It's on TV.
In other words, that I wasn't allowed my 3 minutes.
It's on TV, you got it.
Well, I want it to be in the minutes also. And that I do object to 10B for the same reason, and that is that our city manager is, and the three of you people, in other words, Nelson, Stokel, Dr. Stokel, and Mr. Diesel, you are involved, you are saturated with this fraud because you were there when it happened. You were there when it happened. And I would love to take you to court.
You going to talk about the pension at all?
And
Are you
I'm
gonna
talking
support
about
it?
the
You're against
pension.
it?
In other words, this pension should not be considered. I'm asking you for close the meeting, especially because of the fraud that is happening with our city manager.
All right, Stan, you've been there. I just read you the rule. You're repeating yourself. Have a seat.
Okay, again, I'm gonna sit down.
And again, you're not on topic.
I'm sitting down
And
in
again, you're not
protest,
listening.
and I don't have my 3 minutes. So I want,
I'm sorry? You're my director. Well, my direction to him right now is to have a seat.
okay, I'm gonna have a seat, but I want Wanda Wells to record this. I didn't get my 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. You know, Stan, there was one thing I told you we'd go over and over, and sometimes you do really well, and then sometimes you just, I think, blatantly decide you're going to talk about what you want to talk about, and it's got nothing to do with the topic. I can read it to you. I don't know if you've even read this public comment procedure. How many times do I have to read it to you that you have to talk about the topic that's on the agenda and you don't want to do it? And we'll continue to do this. All right, here we go. City manager.
We're all the way to petitions and requests.
And Stan, you already had yours. All right, let's, she's the only one left if she wants to. I don't think she does. All right, we are petitions or requests. I see none. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, do you want a card? You can speak? Come on up. You don't need a card for that, but come on up. Nobody here. I'd say no. Nobody here. He's still showing out.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good. I caught the tail end
What's
of
your
this.
name and address for the record, please?
Oh, okay. Marla Purvis, 3810 South Washington Avenue, apartment 512, Titusville.
Thank you, Marla.
I caught the tail end of the conversation for this. It's about concerns about the trees. And I was trying to see if I can make a suggestion on a certain type of tree that could benefit just about everybody, including people who are insecure with food. I would like to suggest fruit trees, whatever fruit that we could grow in the city of Titusville. One, we have our trees, we have our canopies, and we got fruit. so that people can, who, like I said, don't have food at home, they can at least walk out around the city, gather up some fruit, nuts, or whatever else we can plant around the city to hopefully prevent a lot of the starvation. Would like to look into it, like to know how we can together do some research and to see if we can have these trees around the city.
Well, thank you so much for that input. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever heard us talk about planting fruit trees.
We actually, the place you went this morning, the affordable housing, in the center, they have planted fruit trees.
Very good.
And the Boys and Girls Club has guavas.
I have seen those.
You've seen those?
I have seen those.
So I think it's something that we can think about as we go down the line.
Absolutely. A very productive idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I don't have anybody else left for petitions or requests, so that should be done with that. City
Yep,
Manager.
you're on to mayor and council reports.
I'll go ahead and go first. I will just say that, and again, I don't want to be redundant because I talk about Titusville Police and their help with the Titusville Terrier Junior Football League. But for the first time, we had a home game, and the home game was at Titusville High School for the first time that I can recall, because they play over at Gibson. And they requested, because the field's got issues, they could play at Titusville High School. My hat's off to THS for making that happen. It was it's such a much better setting. There was plenty of room. The concessions were open. It was so exciting. Very excited to be there. I also very much, and I know, I think several council people were at the 9/11, the Blue, what was that service called?
It was the Blue Mass.
Blue Mass. And I just want to thank the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church and Pastor Bruce for hosting that. And not only do they host that, but I can tell you the number of things that I'm sure many of you have been, but I've been to so many different things at that church that have to do with honoring our police and our fire and our sheriff and our military. They're very dedicated to that. So I thought that was outstanding. And I thought it was very appropriate that our chiefs got together, and the proclamation that I put together for the chiefs, and they normally go back and forth on who accepts it, they gave it to the church. And I thought that was very touching and very meaningful. On another note, a little bit more of a business note, I got, as I'm sure all of you did in the email this week, that the NAACP's gathering, I don't know what we're calling it, the ball, or the annual ball, got it right, is going to be on October 28th. And I was reading the email, and I noticed that there was a place where corporations or cities or whatever could buy a table. And I personally think that that's a good idea as they come back together, that we do a table. I think I've already seen 2 or 3 of you have already checked off green. You're going to go to this event. I'm planning on going to that event, and that they've asked me to give the welcome. That's 4, and with spouses or other, that's 6 or 8. I think the tables are 10. So I don't know the process I do for that, but I'd like to propose that the city buy a table for the NAACP ball on October 28th. Follow up. How do we do that? Just say again?
We don't have any budget for that, but.
Well, we have bought tables for other events.
We have, but they're budgeted.
So, I mean, it's hard for me to say we haven't done that. Whether we have a budget or not, we have done it.
Council could consider it, and if you want to do it, then just direct us to do it, and we'll do it.
I mean, to me, that's where my idea came from, because I know that we attended an event that there was a table involved, and I thought, well, that shows a lot of support, and if we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. That's why I was directing you before I even saw what everybody else thought about it. But certainly it's not something I can do on my own. If not, we can certainly make it work otherwise. Anybody have a thought on that?
I think it would make a statement.
Tell me again?
I think it would make a statement.
Well,
by
I certainly
having
do
a
too,
table for
since
the
they've been
city.
gone a couple of years. I think it started with COVID. I think I was the speaker at the last one at Indian River Preserve.
You
And I
were.
think that was the last one.
Mhm.
And now that it's probably been 4 years. I'd like to think that we can come up with, I don't remember what it was, but it was 400 and something. for a table at $60 a person, so I think that's probably a pretty good deal. Member Stokel, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm in favor of it. I feel like I know council as a whole, I think we have a budget. Again, it's not budgeted in there. We have done events or tables at other events. I think just keeping in mind that if we were planning a spring event or whatnot, I think we just need to be mindful of the year when it starts October 1st and goes through September. So if
Absolutely.
we're saying yes to this, we might not potentially say something, but I would be in favor of it.
I would say that I don't know, city manager, I'm sure you do, how many tables we buy at events a year, but I don't think it's many. This is the first one in my 7 years I've ever even thought about. So certainly the first time I've ever requested, let's think about purchasing a table for an event. I think this would be the one. That's just me. So I don't know if you guys want to say something, feel
Well,
free.
I'm thinking that, I'm definitely in favor of it. I would like for city manager to look and see if we can find the funds, but I would propose if the funds were not readily available, that we fund ourselves to go as the option.
If council wants to do this, vote on it and we'll make it happen.
Well, I would make a motion that, on piggyback onto what Mayor Diesel said, that we purchase a table for the NAACP ball.
And I would second that.
With that, Stan, you want to say anything?
Yes.
You third it?
Is that okay, Wanda?
Yeah, Stan, it's a vote. Come on up.
I think this is not a bad idea. It's a really good idea. I mean, the black people right now are being almost butchered by DeSantis and all this nonsense that's going around. And the government right now is, I'm sorry, I'm not black, but I see it as a horrible thing that's happening with black people right now. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like the unfairness. And I think this will go a lot toward helping the black people for the city government, the city of Titusville, which has, as its founder, Mr. Titusville, which was a horrible racist, that we should do what you're recommending. Thank you very much for that. And
Thank you.
And I agree with you that the the KKK was a horrible group.
I know you do.
But they did do some things back in the 20s that were that.
I knew you did when you said it, so don't
right.
make me think I
you.
wasn't saying you didn't.
All right.
All right, okay, I have a motion. I'm good, right? I have a motion from Member Cole. Second from Member Nelson. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Thank you. That carries. And I do think it's an important statement to make. And like I said, I've never requested a table before. I don't know about them most of the time. But I'd like to think we can come up with $400-ish for such an important event that's making a comeback. So I appreciate that. So that's, I go this way to this time. Member Nelson.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Oh, you good?
No.
I thought you said I'm good. You said, oh, good.
I said, oh, good.
Okay, good.
So, I actually wanted to say tomorrow at 10 o'clock on the Front Street Center in Melbourne, it's ACOM, which is actually Sean Stauffer's new company, has developed an algae eating boat.
What?
An algae
Algae-eating
eating
boat.
boat. And they have it there for people to see. It hasn't been tried out in the river yet. It's been tried in Orlando. It sucks up algae and it separates the algae from the water and turns the algae into jet fuel.
I've
So
never heard of
from
such a thing.
10 to 12 tomorrow,
As long as it's not electrical.
it is, I thought it was rather cool.
No, I do
Yeah,
too. do
I mean,
too.
I was just sort of like,
This algae
wow.
eating part, now I can turn it into this and that.
Well, I'm
Wow.
assuming it doesn't suck up anything other than
Pretty
algae.
cool.
And the other thing I was going to bring up is Brad and I talked about the Live Local Act and trying to increase affordable housing. And so what we ended up talking about, and Scott was there too, not that you contributed, we all contributed to the conversation. I don't mean to say you were sitting there not doing Um,
I've been sitting next to Member Cole too long.
I know, I'm sorry. Anyway, we were started talking about inclusionary housing. Is that the correct term?
It's inclusionary zoning, yeah.
And perhaps looking at it where we give developers tax incentives if they will set aside housing for affordable housing. What do you guys think? Brad may have to explain it better than me.
We may need more of a
We
presentation.
could bring this back to you
Yeah.
at a presentation. We'll prepare a presentation
I know I
on
need more.
that,
Sounds
if
good.
in fact you would like to do that.
Yes,
But I'd wanna know more.
yes. Can we do that?
I'd like to hear more about it. I mean, because obviously the event today was very beneficial and showed our efforts with, I don't say low income, what's the word? I'm looking for?
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing. So if there's something out there like that and there's something an angle we can take, I'd like to hear it, sure.
I had never heard that term, and I think Joe used it
I have never heard it either.
a couple meetings ago, and I was like, So we started talking about it. It sounds like a potentially great idea.
It does.
So,
Again, we need to
yeah.
know more about it, sure.
And the other thing I was going to say is I would love to see Mr. Broom bring back some information on what the funding is supposed to be used for from the Titusville TEC. And so we at least have an idea of what we're talking about, and maybe in the next couple weeks, we can talk to a representative and find out specifically what happened and why it happened. Why was funding for the arts cut?
Yeah, I would agree that would, and certainly we can all communicate separately with the city attorney. But that is where I would start on, what, I need to understand it more, exactly what happened, where it came from, where we can get it from, and, because it is a hit. It is a hit on the city. I agree. Not just a hit on the city from the county. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it hurts us.
So, anyway, that's my list.
All right. Member Cole? All right.
Well-
Member Stokoe? No.
Well, the thing is that I prepared a 3-hour report that I wanted to read because there's no way we're gonna get out here before 8 o'clock. So my wife told me I couldn't come home before 11.
Well, you got a lot of places to do.
So I got,
We need to get
I'm
you
good.
home.
I'm good. I'm
Member
good.
Stokoe?
I'm good.
I don't know, if you might be embarrassed by me doing this, but at sitting in the meeting yesterday, you got appointed to another board in the League of Cities.
Yes, I might have mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys. So
Mentioned it at the meeting
maybe I
yesterday.
just mentioned the meeting. Yeah. So you guys know that I serve on the Space Coast League of Cities board as the treasurer, and then they appoint for Space Coast League of Cities. They appoint 2 reps to serve on the Florida League of Cities board, which I serve on that. And then at the annual conference, within that board, they select, I should say, a smaller group that will be the executive board. So I found out that they did select me to serve on that. So I actually will participate in my first meeting regarding that in 2 weeks in Fort Myers at the next Florida League of Cities.
I can't say I understand all your boards, but I do want to say that you are on a lot of boards, which says to me, you're a doer. You didn't go there to just, hey, let's hang out with the people, let's rub elbows, let's sit at the front table.
Stop it.
But no. But clearly, I can see as, quite honestly, somebody who's just kind of, I do a lot of observing because, quite honestly, I'm not on on a lot of those boards. I've got a lot of other things going on, but not those boards. It's very obvious to me that the people who are on the League of Cities, who are appointing you to these boards and electing you to these boards, have a lot of confidence in you, and so do I, and so does our council, I'm sure. So I appreciate you representing us in the way you do.
Well, thank
I
you.
really
I
do.
appreciate it, and I'm happy to serve.
Thank you so much. Vice Mayor. Pay attention now.
Thank you, and ditto.
Microphone.
Ditto, and Sarah does a very good job
Really does.
of representing the city. Now, the mayor told you I was at a couple of activities with he and the city manager over the weekend, and the League of Cities on yesterday. And just for the affordable housing issue, the Housing Coalition for Brevard County approached me last week and asked me to, would I represent the north end, those who put on that program, the north end of Brevard County, as a advisor for affordable housing. So I am now part of the board for the Coalition for Affordable, for the Coalition for Brevard County. So we'll see how that goes, and they know that I can be a critic of stuff that don't go well. So we're working on that affordable housing. We're working on that affordable housing thing as well. There's a lot of good things going on, and I told him I was still, as sitting on the board of affordable housing, I still have to represent the citizens of Titusville as well, and those are the priorities that have to be balanced as we go forward. That's it.
Thank you. And before I turn it over to city manager and city attorney, I just want to say how much I appreciate what you guys do. And it's not just sitting up here by any means. It's where you're at, what you're doing, how you represent, how much you care. It's very obvious to me wherever I go, and I'm in a lot of places. I'm normally not there alone. And quite honestly, Sarah's employment makes it a little more difficult, because I remember that just last year when I was the principal down in Cocoa at St. Mark's, there were things going on. So I get that, but let me go back and digress to all the things she's doing representing us with the state and the League of Cities. So she's constantly doing that. You guys are constantly, I hear it all the time, you know, Jolene or Herman might say I was speaking to so-and-so. But we're constantly trying to find better ways to get it done. And certainly Vice Mayor, he's got a long history working with affordable housing, every kind of housing. Certainly he's got more experience in the CRA than maybe any of us in that whole area. And although I hung out there a lot as a teenager, I'll tell you that. But anyway, that being said, I am very proud of this group. And one thing I do get from going to the, and it's not 3 o'clock in the morning, so I can finish this last story, going to the League of Cities, is I get to talk to other mayors on a regular basis. And I just talked to a couple yesterday that were having agitation and conflict with people on their council. I'm like, I just can't understand that. Don't misunderstand me. It happens. I mean, you know, it happens on a coaching staff. It happens on the faculty. It happens. But in this particular case, when there's 5 of us that sit up here and try to achieve the same goal of what's best for Titusville, there's been a lot of votes that we don't agree on. But we don't, you know, fight about that. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to the next thing. There's definitely some issues that are tough in other cities that we don't deal with, because we have a group of professionals up here, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the city manager and city attorney. I really do. The number of times, and I can see it all the time because I'm not the only one, when he says question from a council member, I think we all feel comfortable asking questions. Say, what do you think? And I appreciate you keeping us informed. I'll speak for myself, keeping me informed of things going on when I need to know them. So thank you guys as well. And Stan, how you doing? Go ahead.
On my report, I have no action items, but we've included the community development newsletter, which is an initiative that Brad brought on. It's in my report. Also, the budget final public hearing will be on the 21st at 5:30, and we'll have the read-ahead slides out to you shortly. And Brad wanted to talk about the upcoming community engagements.
We have 3 meetings that you requested. If you remember, Canning Associates and Kimberly Horn came and gave several presentations on the comp plan policies and zoning changes that they're going to propose, or code changes rather. So you had asked us to get the public's input. We've scheduled a series of meetings, and we are getting the word out with the first meeting starting next Monday, and there'll be each one will have we'll talk about, focus on a particular topic so we won't say the same thing at each meeting. So some people may show to one meeting, some people may show to all of them. I'll try to answer any questions you have about that.
Anybody? I think it's pretty, that you did a good job of making it self-explanatory, and some of the meetings look worthy of note that I would like to look into. So thank you, Brad, for everything you do. I definitely don't want to leave you out on thanking you, because you're in the middle. And you really are. And we've talked before. I mean, you're kind of like the coach on the headset, and you got 6 different things coming in your way, and 6 different ways of doing it, and 6 different opinions, and you balance them all. So I appreciate that. City Manager.
City Attorney?
Yes,
Unless you have any questions, okay.
Yes, Council, I just wanted to update you on this current status of some litigation. As you're aware, we had received a complaint for declaratory judgment and injunctive relief from a citizen regarding the Apollo Gardens project. The city has filed a motion to dismiss for legal reasons, and Apollo Gardens as well. And I just want to let you know that we scheduled a hearing on those motions for December 12th, 2023 at 10 o'clock a.m. And I'll keep you updated as that progresses. And if you have any questions for me, I'm certainly here to answer them.
Council, anything? I see none.
Thank you.
We're good? Guys, I appreciate it. We just turned what could have been a 7:15 meeting into 8 o'clock, but that's what we do. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.